And good morning. This is Things You Might Have Heard for Friday, the July the 14th, 2023. I am Jay Clifton Payne, and we may get some interference or some accoutrements, if you will, from the storm gently rolling outside my window right now. We record this live, 5:50 a.m. every single weekday morning, Central Time, of course, and then you hit the replays that we trim up going down the lines. We're going to give you, in just a few moments, the latest that you said were pretty cool stories dealing with politics, information, current events, and pop culture. You vet the stories and we curate them from the top stories of the list. We took the top 15 stories that you said were conversational. We're giving you 8 of them coming back here. One of them, of course, the Screen Actors Guild AFTRA strike that it basically was called last night. So today you'll see more picketing lines, and we'll get into more sort of debate on that one in a bit. But these are stories that not just pulled from a top 10 listing of the AI itself, at least not yet, but we are pulling them from your votes that say that what is good. You can go to our website, thisisaconversationproject.com, and understand more about what that is about. We'll explain that after we're done with all the headlines, how that works out. Give us about 12 minutes to get through the headlines so you can get all that good stuff right there. As I said, today is Friday, the 14th of July, 2023. Let's get into the news for this day. Starting off with the first story, which is the Hollywood actors go on strike after unanimous vote. Quote, left us no alternative. One of the odder things about the Screen Actors Guild, the writer strike going on, is that, or the Hollywood actors strike is going on, I should say, is that the actual current president, you never really expect them. Of course, Ronald Reagan, once the president of the Screen Actors Guild, Melissa Gilbert from Little House on the Prairie fame, once the president of the Screen Actors Guild, and now Fran Drescher, yes, the nanny is in charge of all the actors. And the nanny put a very, very impassioned speech yesterday about what is going on, and that the studios basically left them no alternative. What they're asking for is better pay. They're always asking for better pay. But the biggest thing that was the real scratching issue that really cheated off the writers in the first place was the use of AI, or potential future use of AI, as it can contain to what is produced for screen, either the big screen, the television screen, or the media screen at your phone that you watch on streaming stuff. If you watch the Netflix current season of Black Mirror, episode number 1, Joan is Awful, is essentially the playbook of what they're going for. That show, that episode, was essentially people signing the rights away for their life to be turned into quick reality TV because they could superimpose actors, people's faces on them. And and if you go deeper into the episode, there's a bunch of different layers of detail that makes it really, really, really weird in that Black Mirror way. But essentially, that's basically what they're saying they're going to do. The screenwriters and the actors are saying, you're going to use AI to write our scripts. You're going to just pull stuff out there and pull them into scripts. You're going to use scans of people once and use them forever. We can't have that. That's what's going to happen down the line. At least that's what they're predicting. And that's why there's a strike going on right now. So essentially, no acting going on, even in any sort of improv sense. No writing going on. Your TV shows for the fall will be either all Survivor all the time or all delayed for quite some time. This is a very disturbing story. So there are probably no kids listening, so there's no things here, but trigger warnings will be there. We're going to take it to the very basics of the details that we pulled from this so we don't get any strikes or anything like that. The headline reads, YouTuber Colleen Ballinger's tour podcast canceled amid blackface backlash, grooming accusations. This is a story that literally popped up in my timeline yesterday, as many people were dealing with the news reports, as it turned into a blurb, many news outlets, and then turned into a larger thing throughout the nation in writing and in detail. Now, YouTube star Colleen Ballinger had a great career, but all things went to double hockey sticks. How do you say? Basically, it went trash pretty quickly. She has been essentially grounded from her podcast and grounded from her videos and doing anything. And a tour that was going on is done because of unforeseen circumstances. That's what it says. The unforeseen circumstances is the apology she put out last week against some allegations of past inappropriate relationships with minors in her feeds, essentially having some not the right type of conversations with teenagers or preteen type boys in her DMs. She is a very popular children's singer on YouTube. Miranda Sings is her thing. She plays ukulele and sings songs for children and has been going on whatever. But unfortunately, allegations of what's called a toxic gossip train has been surrounding her lately. And for right now, she's off tour. She's not doing her podcast. She won't be doing any videos. We'll see how she rebounds as a actress, as a performer, and as a human being. Now back to things that you may need trigger warning for this one as well. Aaron Rodgers, New York Jets selected to be on 2003 Hard Knocks per report. Now the report says that who's going to be in this thing. Technically, the Cowboys were the least qualified team to be in ratings, so they probably should have been there because they were the worst of the ones that were sort of thought about. But the papers say, the networks say, the sources say it's going to be the news story of Aaron Rodgers leaving Green Bay, going to New York, being on that spotlight, although the Jets and the Giants are weird different spotlights, and sort of doing what he is doing to insert himself as the new leader of the Jets. If you follow Hard Knocks, you know it's basically just, goofing around training camp, which is there. And the reason why it's Hard Knocks is because it goes through a team that's usually one of the worst teams last season to see how well they're prepared to be better. Jets, they usually are bad, so that's sort of a thing. But Aaron Rodgers is there to basically bolster up the Jets, who aren't as bad as they've been lately, but still kind of bad. Aaron Rodgers needed a new place to go after some weirdness going on in Green Bay. And we're going to see how this thing plays out as the new home for Aaron Rodgers and the new Jets take off this upcoming season. This next story should not be much of a shock, but it is something that does involve a lot of business issues. Domino's to start using Uber for food orders, shares surge. Now, the traditional Domino's pizza delivery guy will exist in most cases, but they're going to start using the Uber Eats and Postmates for orders in a pilot in many U.S. states in the fall. The partnership has basically raised the stock prices of both of those two companies, or Postmates as well, so three companies. But the big thing is Domino's is, backing away from just having uniform drivers because they need more people to essentially make pizzas in stores. Driving is one of the biggest expenses for Domino's because you got to make sure the drivers are insured. They go out there and they're fighting for tips. You saw the guy in the video that went viral the other day about getting $5 on a $20 pizza and complaining about it. Things like that happen. So in order to keep that out of their wheelhouse and not deal with it, this also helps with growth and just issues because then these are employees that are driving that Domino's doesn't have to pay to drive. Less money on their cars, less money wear and tear on their shirt, this stuff. Let the freelance Uber folks and the Postmates guys deal with it. That's going to happen. The drivers are not going away officially or not going completely, but to bolster some places where they are low on drivers, they're going to offer some things up to some Uber Eats drivers to get some things out there. Next story, headline reads, Gymnast Gabby Douglas confirms she's returning to compete in 2024. Who else is returning? Simone Biles. So the dominance of about the last decade is going back on tour again, as many of the older gymnasts, Douglas at 27, are going back to compete with the younger ladies. Now, and this is not because the younger ladies aren't so good, but this is because the older ladies are still that good and want to help bolster up in the next generation of gymnastics. So going over in the next competition, they're Gabby Douglas and Simone Biles are competing, very soon, and they're both hopefully to compete in the Olympics in 2024. We will see how this all plays out going forward. And so congratulations. When you put your best out there, you expect to win. This is essentially dream teaming the gymnastics team because you're putting out some of the veteran players, veteran gymnasts out there who have dominated over the years, and they should dominate the younger people who are stepping into their new positions. Lisa Marie Presley, cause of death, small bowel obstruction, opioids found. Poorly written headline, pulled from TMZ. That is why we're doing it in that manner. Now, a toxicology report for Lisa Marie Presley found that there were levels of oxycodone and buprenorphine, as well as traces of other things, including quatraphene and other things as well when she died. But she actually died of strangulated small bowel caused by adhesion from developed after a bariatric surgery years ago. That's the actual cause of death. So she did not die from a drug overdose, although there were opioids, drugs found in her system in the toxicology report. Her actual cause of death was a basically something for a medical procedure that came down, later in life. So this is something to a couple of things stories listening to. Number one, make sure you check on your health because things are there. I just talked to a person I work with who had to leave a conference last week to go to a funeral for her niece. Her niece was 51 years old and died suddenly, just died for no apparent reason. Nothing was seen, nothing was triggered. She just passed away, and they had to kind of deal with that. This is essentially what happened with Lisa Marie Presley. So make sure that you're checking in on your health so you know that everything's on the up and up. We talk about the stay limber, stay hydrated thing. Check on your health, make sure that things are there. Check on people who you're worried about because sometimes things are there. Ask them, plead with them to go make sure they're checking their health. And if you do have issues with drug abuse, look for some help. Seek someone to talk to, someone to help you get through those issues. LeBron James finally get word, although word was technically Monday or Wednesday or so. LeBron James announces he will return to this fall for his 21st NBA season. There was a lot of rumors and innuendo, things that literally he actually spread out there as well, that were suggesting he may give it up already. Now, the dream he's had is to play basketball on a team with his son, who is now in his first year of college, or will be beginning his first year of college this year. Would not have happened if he retired this year after the Lakers' performances, if you will, great performances and then bad performances to bounce him out of the playoffs. LeBron James says he's back for another year, and he did that during the ESPYs award show on Wednesday. Not giving a date on retirement, but that's saying one more year is in the books. We'll see if 2 more years or 3 more years with a drafting of LeBron James Jr. to a team coming soon. And finally, the story that we've all been sort of kind of mulling over, but not understanding exactly what's going on. Secret Service is putting a halt to that story. They conclude that the investigation into the White House cocaine incidents is done without identifying a culprit. Basically, they say there's just way too many people wandering through the room that they figure out what happened. No camera tuned into somebody dropping a baggie. No DNA or any other fingerprints are left on the bag that could be identified. They can't figure out who left the bag of cocaine in the room. So they're done. Period. Obviously, many folks in Congress think, this is a cop-out. Obviously, many people just in general think this is kind of a cop-out. Why can the Secret Service figure out who brought the cocaine into it? Some of those people just want to be Hunter Biden, but they're pretty sure it's not him. It is what it is. So this investigation, fortunately or unfortunately, just for the sake of just the wasting of time it's taking, is closed. Our teaser story for this morning. This is a story that if you deem it worthy of chatting up come Monday, we will do that. You do that by essentially engaging in it. All the stories we talked about today were stories that were highly engaged in. We took the top 15 stories that were engaged in yesterday on Thursday and discussed them this morning, 8 of them at least. Come Monday, we'll take the top 30 stories of the weekend, today, tomorrow, Sunday, and a little bit of Monday, and give you 10 of those stories for a bit of a longer thing going forward. If you want to talk about this one right here, Italy uproar over judge's 10-second groping rule, go to our feeds and engage in it. Facebook.com/this is a conversation project and Twitter.com/th_conversation. Every 50 minutes or so, we're posting new headlines and new links to stories for you to engage in. As you engage, we know what to talk about and we pick them down coming forth in the next iteration. For Monday, we did the weekend. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it's a prior day. Now, this story is taking a couple days for us to actually get to it because it takes a couple days for the American press to really understand it and say it. An Italian janitor was essentially acquitted, not charged, not arrested, not put in jail for a charge of groping because the groping incident lasted less than 10 seconds. A 10-second rule the judge had that a person touching someone in an inappropriate place could get away with it if it's under 10 seconds. This has led to a TikTok phenomena of people groping themselves for 10 seconds, and a lot of people in Italy really, really pissed off. If you want to talk about it, go to our feeds and engage in it. Put it in the top 30 stories, and we will find it and put it into the lineup for Monday morning. Right now, we're going to talk about sponsorships, and that's what keeps the Conversation Project and many of my other things working with More Better Media going forward. A new sponsor for today and going into this weekend called PS Print, and they're probably not new to you, but your chance to get in on the great deals coming through the links we provide you for affiliates. So check out this is theconversationproject.com/PS Print. They do banners, they do posters, they do business cards, they do everything you need for your printing needs, for your promotional needs. Get your promotion in gear with PS Print. They offer some of the best prices online and some of the best terms. And well, you get lots of stuff really, really quick. And there's people there to talk to you about this. So they're not just there taking a computer order, looking at it and say, okay, sure, or whatever. They don't take misspellings and misprints and just print them and go forward. They will check in with you. They'll give you proofs. They'll let you change things a few times. And so you get your item correctly when it shows up at your doorstep. Check them out at PS Print online and via our link. This is theconversationproject.com/PS Print. This is a new sponsor for us. We're shifting some folks out. Some sponsors have their accounts have lagged. So we're going to bring some folks in, new folks, and some new things that you folks will use that you folks have asked for. And so we reached out to PS Print, and they've gladly let us be in their affiliate program. Now, remember, we get paid for you using our links, so that's how that works out. It costs you nothing extra for using PS Print, but use them and help us out in the process. You can also help us out by just being you guys, essentially. Go to our website. This is theconversationproject.com and find out more about what we do. Literally, find out more about what we do and see how you can help us do more of it. We offer up this service, I call it a service, it's a program, 5 days a week called Things You Might Have Heard. It's a live feed video newscast. It's a recorded video and audio podcast going forward. And there's a newsletter that has all the links attached to it, directly to it, plus links to the replays of videos and the audio podcast. Tomorrow, you'll get to see and hear we'll get to hear because there's no actual much seeing in it, the weekly wrap-up where we'll give you the top 10 stories for the week so you know what context that went to. Plus, we'll give you the story of the week, which will go into detail on one story of the top 10. I don't know what the top 10 stories are yet, and once I do, I will go through and reshuffle them and figure out what the story of the week is, so I don't know what that will be this week either. But come tomorrow, Saturday, and the weekend, you can check those out as well. And other things we're doing all over the place. We're doing more of our little one more things you might have heard, commentaries along our social media things and the quick versions of TikTok and on YouTube shorts and things like that. So look for that. We'll probably put those on Instagram as well once we figure out a quick way to do that. So we're getting more stuff out there to you. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of effort, a lot of creativity we love, but it's work and effort. And so if you kind of love us, love what we're doing, make sure you are helping us out by watching it, engaging in it, going to the feeds, engaging in the stories so we have things to talk about, sharing those feeds and our video links to other people so there's more people to engage in it. And of course, if you think what we're doing is deserving of a little help, stop by our partnerships page and see if there's some ways that you would like to help us. It is totally on you. If you can't afford it, the biggest thing you can do is just keep watching the videos and giving us the commentary, giving us comments, giving us feedback. Feedback's always great. We're always sort of playing around with things and redoing things as this thing works. So hopefully we'll get a close to perfect venue of what we can give to you here in the Conversation Project. A little rambly today. It's been a long week, a lot of things going on, and little doodads are going off on my computer, so I'm trying to stop, make sure there's no weird sounds popping up. But the bottom line is, you've made it this far. If you enjoy what we're doing and want to partner with us, check out the partnerships page at theconversationproject.com and see if there's something there for you. And you've made it this far, and you've gone all this way, so let's have some fun with the Zip Fun stuff. Why don't we? Starting off with birthdays for this day, July the 14th. That is what today is. Happy birthdays going out to Jane Lynch, the very, very funny, very talented comedian and actress, Jane Lynch. We'll see if her work will be affected going forward with the Screen Actors Guild being on strike. Same for Matthew Fox, 57 years old. His last big thing was Lost, of course, famous for Party of Five, the original Party of Five. We'll see what happens going on there. And Conor McGregor, who is not exactly retired from MMA, but he's really, really rich and just getting more money by doing appearances and just being a jerk in general. So I guess he's not fighting very much. Conor McGregor, only 35 years old on the day. Let's talk about history. Let's learn some stuff today. Going back on the 14th of July, starting back in 1913, Gerald R. Ford Jr., our 39th president of the United States, was born Leslie Lynch King Jr. in Omaha, Nebraska. His mother's second husband later adopted him, got a chance to rename him, and basically named him after himself. So instead of being named after his biological father, Leslie King, he is now named after his adopted father, Gerald Ford II. There you go. In 1969, the United States took the $500, $1,000, $5,000, and $10,000 bills were taken down from circulation. So all the way up to the almost 70s, you can get a $500 bill. You can get a $10,000 bill. Where you would spend it, nobody knows. But I guess if you're buying a house, you just drop a bunch of 10,000s, and roll with it. Of course, there are rumors that U.S. can kind of save itself from inflation and money things by just printing out a $1 billion bill and putting it on the shelf because whatever they say is it rules. It doesn't quite work that way. But because your money has to be backed by something, you can print money to a point, but at some point it has to be backed by something. It can't just be imaginary, like Monopoly. And in 2003, the United States government admitted to the existence of Area 51. They didn't say what was there. They didn't say why I was there. They didn't say why you couldn't go there. They just said, yeah, they're just placed in the map called Area 51. It's a base. That's all we're going to say about it. Let's say more about today's celebration, Mac and Cheese Day. We've had a lot of fun with our celebrations this week. All things that were edible or digestible or drinkable, pina colada. And so we're going to wrap it up with mac and cheese, the favorite from basically everybody. No one can. We had fried chicken. No one complained about fried chicken. Everybody loves fried chicken. Mac and cheese. No one can complain about mac and cheese except they do. Now there are people who will complain about going to people's places and not eating their mac and cheese because they don't know what they put in, and different people do that. That's rude. Try their mac and cheese. Be bold. Be experimental. We throw things in our mac and cheese. I'll often put broccoli in it or bacon in it, things like that. Every so often we'll bake a lobster mac and cheese, which it costs a lot more at the store. So we tend to make it there so often we can do things like that. We have fun with our mac and cheese around here. We love mac and cheese, and we eat a lot of it. Maybe not tonight because it's pizza night and we're not fans of mac and cheese pizza. That just gets a little too much, a little too in it, people's business. But mac and cheese is something we'll probably have later on in the weekend. And finally, one more thing you might not have heard. Researchers say children are born moral and hardwired to empathize with others in pain. The researchers out of the University of Chicago scanned the brains of children between 7 and 12 as they watched videos of people experiencing pain, either received accidentally or inflicted intentionally. Clips included a heavy bowl being dropped on hands and a person stepping intentionally on someone else's foot. The scans showed that the parts of the brain activated when adults see pain were also triggered in children, proving they are hardwired to feel empathy. So this is why, even though you may think you're a curmudgeon and a jerk, your heart goes out to people in situations. Children are born to feel empathy with others, and then they are taught to not be so great. So think about that with the children that you have to teach and the children around you that, are taught by other people. We're done with that. Jay, Cleveland Payne, wrapping up Friday's edition, the July 14th Friday edition of Things You Might Have Heard. Thank you so much for being a part of the show, being a part of the program, hanging out with us. Whether you were here with me live, chatting it up, and a lot of folks chatting up this morning, thank you so much for being in the chat, or you're going to watch this on the video replays. We can't do this without you watching it live or coming into the video replays, to be honest, because you guys give us the work we need to do for this. You guys tell us the stories that need to be discussed, and you guys help out a lot around here. Give me hope, give me life, give me a reason to, something to believe in, if you will, whichever version you want to put in your head for that one. Just all about earworms today. Check out our weekly podcast, which include the weekly wrap up and the story of the week happening being produced and published on tomorrow. We'll work on some of them tonight, but they'll be out there in your feeds tomorrow, and so check them out there. Check out our newsletters we have going on all week long. Check out what we have going on in other places. Check on your strong friends, because it's 6 months in, 7 months in, and we're still here. Stay hydrated, stay limber on task for all the grand things you want to do. We're going to keep it down to time level because we've got a big day ahead. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up the thing over here. Remember, the teaser story for today is about the 10-second groping rule in Italy, and whatever stories that you deem as conversational based on your engagement on the feeds. Just we'll talk about them come Monday. We'll have 10 stories for you ready to go Monday morning. And what will those 10 stories be? We won't know until early Monday morning. So stick around with us. Tune in 5:50 a.m. live Central Time for the live view or on the replays throughout the days. Follow us, link us, like us, share us, do all those fun things, and help us stay on the air, internet terms, going forward. Love you, Josh. Thank you so much. Love you, Chris. Thank you so much. We will see you guys Monday morning.